clearly there's no method to this madness. We live in a world where 1 billion people first set eyes on their potential partner whilst they're taking a dump. You haven't even had a conversation with someone and you're already imagining that cute movie montage scene with this dude or chick you hope to bang in the next 48 hours. That's the best case scenario. But for the most part, you'll find yourself in a loop of swiping, getting no matches, and then 24 hours later, rinse and repeat. Sometimes it can seem that amidst a sea of millions of single people that are supposedly looking for relationships, that nobody wants to be with you. And then dating apps came along and literally you know that there's thousands of people in your local area that are looking at your picture and are looking for a relationship, but they still choose not to go with you, or maybe you don't connect very well. And I think it's safe to say that you're not alone in feeling that way. If that is how you feel, at the very least, I stand there with you. Just like anything else in the world, dating apps can be abused. I mean, if you're constantly just on a dating app trying to find people to date you, put all of your eggs in that basket, that might not be the wisest thing to do, because the fact of the matter is there's still people out there on the street that you could talk to, and the only difference is that, you know, on a dating app, like, the rejections might appear less severe than if you're out on the street and someone actually said, oh no, I'm not attracted to you, because then, you know, you have to deal with that, you know, for as long as it takes you to walk away from that person. Whereas with the dating app, it's a lot safer, you know, you're just kind of chilling. When you're out on the street, yeah, it is probably the case that a lot of people there are looking for love, but it's something that we're not overly trained to seek out in person, because there's so much fear of being rejected by somebody, whatever that means for you, or being ridiculed or laughed at, and that might happen. With dating apps, it kind of makes it a little bit safer, because you know that the people that you're coming across and that you're messaging, or like, you know, super liking or whatever you're doing, you know that they are at least soliciting to some extent the interaction from you. We can see it as a very safe alternative to going up to people on the street, because yeah, we don't necessarily know the relationship status of people on the street, nor do we know if they're looking for love or, you know, what they want. But having said that, you never know what might happen if you go down that route. It's a traumatizing experience to be single at a certain age, in my culture anyway. You know, there's all sorts of statistics about the average age to get married, and how likely you are to remain married, or how likely you are to divorce, or how likely you are to be single forever. It's such a mind boggle. You know, like you're a human, you pop out, and like, let's just be real, like marriage and long-term relationships and all of this stuff, these are totally just like societal norms. They're not actually normal in terms of the human species. They're just made up ideas, and just look at different cultures, they have completely different outlooks on all of these things. Like in India, they're getting married when they're teenagers, and over here you're getting married in your mid-30s and whatever. Like, clearly there's no method to this madness. And that's what makes it all the worse when you're like, I'm in my late 20s, mid to late 20s, and some people I know are getting married, and it's like, I haven't even gotten into a relationship to even put in the whatever average 5 years until you get married type thing, and there's so much pressure under that. Like, it's like,
listen, just hit it really hard and really fast.
You're there trying to live your best life, but you're just worried about what everyone's going to think about you, because you're not in a relationship or this or that. And if you want to be in a relationship, power to you, and if that finds you, then that's awesome. But I suppose I want to emphasize that we ought not to be ashamed to be single, you know, if it's now or forever. To express that you want connection in your life is to be vulnerable, and to be vulnerable is often frowned upon. You know, it's not the macho man thing to do, or it inconvenienced your parents when you cried when you were a kid.
It's overtime right now, and there's a penalty shot about to take place. This happens like once every 10 years.
So they told you not to do that. And then, you know, you go a lot of your life suppressing emotion and suppressing your true desires, your humane desires. Like, humans are a relationally dependent species, and we require connection. It's not negotiable. Once you have those basic needs met of, you know, food and water and shelter and whatnot, then we are looking for the next step up on the ladder, which is emotional connection. It's romance, it's love, it's physical touch. We want connection, we want love. And some people find that through dating, some find it through drinking or dancing or painting, whatever it is. Dating apps highlight how much we all have in common, but how afraid we are to admit that. It can be seen as a sign of weakness to express your needs and your desires. This is what keeps us from each other. This is what keeps us in a state of disconnection. If we're not willing to be honest and upfront with what it is we want, you know, be it in terms of like our job or in terms of relationships, then we're going to continue to shoot ourselves in the foot. We're going to continue to manifest and create lives for ourselves and relationships that we don't actually want, because we're too afraid to say, no, this is what I want. I want this. And I know that maybe you will judge me for wanting this, but that's what I want. And there's so much repressed and suppressed desire that we push down. That's fine, you can do that for a certain amount of time, but ultimately you probably will arrive at a stage in your life where you just think, like, I can't do this anymore. It actually sucks more to not go after the thing that I want than it does to suppress it. Like, it was fine for 10 years, but now I'm just like, I want to sing songs. Like, I want to get up there and sing. Maybe you want to be a chef and your friends don't approve of that, and you're like, I just can't hold it in anymore. I gotta make a chicken tandoori. And then you go and you make a chicken tandoori, and it's like, I'm not stopping. And then, you write a cookbook and all of this wonderful stuff happens because you just decided, I'm worth more than my peers' perception of me. The thing about relationships and dating and family and even, money, everything in life, you don't actually need anything in particular in life in order to thrive. There's sufficient nourishment that comes from waking up each day and doing your best, being of service to the whole. How can I make this day the best day for everybody involved? And if that looks like, you taking a bath for yourself, or you watering a plant on a hot day, or you smiling at someone that you meet down the street, then that's perfectly fine. That's not better or worse, more or less, than if you make love to someone and impregnate them with triplets. It doesn't matter, because there's always nourishment available to us in our inherent nature. We could compare it to like food. If you're having food, you can put salt on the food and it's going to bring out a whole bunch of different flavors, but like, it's not actually really going to change how that food nourishes you. Yeah, like, it tastes different and it appeals different to the senses, but fundamentally your body is still getting very, very similar nutrients. I think it's the same with the way that we live our lives, be it living our lives, monogamous, single, polyamorous, or whatever. Dating apps, they put a lot of pressure on us in ways, because we think, well, if I'm on a dating app with all these people that want to date, or even if I'm in this world with everyone who seems to want to be with someone, but no one can find anyone. I mean, not nobody, but like, a lot of people aren't finding people, and it's like, that doesn't make sense. If we all want connection, why can't we just connect with each other? Well, maybe it's that right now a lot of the people that you're trying to connect with aren't actually truly trying to connect with people, but they believe they are, because that's what the societal conditioning says. It said to get married, it said to find a lover. I think often in life we look at things as if, I'm going to do this in order to achieve this. You doing this, like your desire to do this, might not actually be relevant to, doing this thing. It might actually be the thing that causes you to meet somebody that points you in this direction, then you end up over here. I like to believe in the magic of the universe, and the universe chooses the path of least resistance. So the path of least resistance in this scenario is to get you to go to this shop to buy a kebab, and then in the kebab, in the lineup, you meet someone that has a job in this, sushi restaurant, and you wanted to be a sushi chef your whole life, and so you end up getting a job in this sushi restaurant because you're the guy you met in the kebab shop, but the reason you wanted to get the kebab was to bring it to your friend's house. But then you had to call your friend and say, oh, sorry, I can't because I've got an interview with this sushi restaurant, and then boom, you can see your friend later, and now you got a job in a sushi restaurant making sushi. I invite you to be open to the possibility that your true love is not in a person right now. It could be next week, could be 5 years from now, or it could be today, but like, it might not be. Maybe you find love walking down the street, or watching the ebb and flow of the ocean, or feeling the sand between your toes, or having a glass of water. There's so many things that we can do, and there's so much joy to be had in each and every activity that we do, in each and every moment that we live, that it doesn't make sense to be pushing all of that back or holding that off to feel joy and love until there's someone there to share it with. Because ultimately, in cultivating it by ourselves, doesn't it give us a beautiful foundation to go into a relationship with? Because if you can't enjoy having a delicious meal or a nice quiet walk, how likely is it that you're going to be able to enjoy the totality of that relationship? Because all of these things are probably going to factor into your relationship as well. Be you on a dating app looking for love, or be you at the end of your tether on a dating app thinking, oh, I've done something wrong here. I've tried all the profile variations and every subscription and I'm still not having any luck. Well, maybe the teaching there for you is to go date yourself for a while and see what that's like. You're not everyone's cup of tea, but you are someone's cup of tea. Have a good day.